Hi all, this is BSA RISQUARD Huntsman. This is a 3v3 on Salamanca province. On the right hand side I shall start. I'm not actually playing in this battle, I should add. I got sent this video by Painkiller, who said that Rusty and Crungy would like me to post it, so here we go. Over on the right hand side we have HMG Crunch playing as France. In the centre we have HMG Painkiller also playing as France, and on the left with a no cavalry Brit build we have HMG Rusty, and I believe that Crungy is facing TKD Stinger. In the centre, Painkiller will be facing TKD Pac-Man, and Rusty will be facing TNC Sith. So I'll come back in a little while once the game started. Right, so I'm back. They've moved into position. Rusty has a pretty strong flank going on over here. He's got his couple of foot units up at the front. He's got his lights behind, so they've still got the range, and they'll be firing over the heads of his line infantry in the front there. Where has he got? Oh, it's King General Lee, Coldstream, Festival's at the back. Quite sure he's got them at the back for. But yeah, so they're all sort of, basically everyone's just sort of taking position, getting first shots off because he's got range with his rifles over here. Crungy is setting up stakes along here. Obviously no cavalry will be able to get round there now, and it looks like he's moving to the left. Voltigil's run into range with his rifles, so they're going to get first shots there. He's going to push his line up behind the stakes, so they've got cover if he decides to push up from this area. Yeah, still taking up position. Rusty's moved his Festival's out to the flank, so he's trying to take first shots. He'll be aiming at his Festivals, not his lights, so should have really been watching for this. Can't imagine why he wouldn't know. And his musketeers, ow, that's gotta hurt. Just shot his own men in the back, and he's shooting into the hill. He's now going to charge his cavalry in it, and it's going to get destroyed. Oh, what a waste. What a waste. Look, he's killing his own men. Oh my god. He's killed like 16 of his own men there, look. Shooting them in the back. He's killed his own men here. I mean, these guys haven't even fired a shot, and they're down to 82. He's killed 8 of his lights, 16 of his musketeers. And he's still got 90 men left in his Festival unit. Yeah, oh my god. That's a really big tactical mistake right there. Never should have. He really wasted that cavalry unit. He never should have sent that in. It's just no. It was completely unnecessary. Painkiller looks like he's sent some chasseur à cheval up to support Rusty over on this flank. Repositioning some cavalry over here. I think these guys are just going to be facing off now over here against, just to act as a deterrent for any pushing up through this area. Crungy looks like he's going to be pushing up his attack into this area of the field, area of the hill. Britain, Stinger is in actually a pretty good defensive position here. He doesn't really need his lights over here. I mean, if I was Stinger and looking at this, I know he's not going to push up and attack through this area, so he might as well have just brought his light infantry over here. Maybe, oh god, oh, what is he doing? Why is he using all this cavalry so early, throwing it in? I mean, look, he's got them all doubled up. You just wouldn't do it. unless you're going to plan on pushing out and attack yourself. And look, these guys are still shooting his men in the back. I mean, his light infantry are being hit by Rusty's light infantry, but these guys here aren't really taking too much damage because they're sort of behind a little bit of the hill. But look, he's just lost 10 men. Look at this. His foot guards are destroying his own men. Rusty doesn't even need to attack that unit. He's doing a great job of all by himself. Oh dear, look at that. Oh, what a waste. He's wasted 2 cavalry units. Really should have saved them for the later game. I mean, if he was sensible, he would have continued. Look at this. I mean, he's got excellent position in here. Rusty's out in the open here. So what he should have done, really, I mean, he's got these lights covered here from these cavalry attack. And they're only going to. I don't think he's going to follow through with that because they'll end up getting those 2 cavalry units killed pretty quickly. He should have put all of his lights in here, really. Stuck earlier on. I mean, he should have done this about a couple of minutes ago, but stuck a cheap line unit or something up over here that he can afford to take losses. Cause it's still going to be take cover fire from these light infantry. Put all of his lights in here, his Prussian lights in here, and shoot into this flank. Shoot into this flank. Weaken it. Shoot at his line infantry. Weaken it. And it'll force either Rusty to pull back, or he'll have to reinforce with these, and then you shoot them as well, and then you send in your cavalry charge. Once you get units going down below 47 men, they can't form square anymore, so that's when you send your cavalry charges in. I mean, he's got the cavalry support coming in from Painkiller over here, so Rusty is now able to, because of that little cav charge and that, he's able to push up and take some more ground. So Prussia's obviously, I mean, Prussia has to defend on this flank. He has no choice. Even from the start, he shouldn't really have used his cavalry. He should have saved that cavalry. It's a complete waste. He needs to weaken Rusty before he even considers pushing out cavalry attacks or any kind of attack against him. The position that he had here, he should have all his lights in here firing at these units out in the open. He would be destroying these units. Alright, so on this end, Cronji's got an attack going up the hill. He's pushing cavalry up. He's got a lot of guns firing in here. He's routing units. He's got a pretty good attack going on here, old Cronj. I think he has some support units coming in from sent over from Painkiller as well, because there's not really any fight going on over here. Big mistake. I don't know why he's pushed these units in here. They don't need to be here. He doesn't need to put these units in the town, really. I'm kind of understanding.
We have taken the building, sir.
I can kind of understand that he wants to push up on the flank here, but he's got look at this. He's got old guard, 2 old guard coming in here. There's no general nearby. They're going to rout. He's got foot. Oh my God! Look, what's he doing? Oh, totally unnecessary. Save those men. Put them over here. Keep a couple of units over here so they don't push up through the town, and send the other units to support these 2 corners of the hill here. Wasted cavalry charge here again. He should have, I think what he probably should have done is sent the cavalry charge in as they were pushing up into this area, and then pushed these line units need to be down here. These 2 light infantry units need to be over here. He's getting some good shots in here from this position. He needs his light infantry. These light infantry have no use over here. He needs his cavalry over here. This line unit, this foot guard over here. These 3 line infantry can hold this area from this. They can hold. That's all he needs it for. He needs all of his light infantry over here with his cavalry. Shoot them up a bit. Let Cronji keep attacking and take the losses. He doesn't need to attack at this stage himself. Maybe before, when he pushed up an attack, sent that cavalry unit into his lights and his line or whatever for keep it going as long as possible. and then push up and attack with your line. You don't push up and attack with cavalry without infantry support. You will not get the maximum damage that you could get, or probably even need to get. I mean, he is facing against old guard. His general should be over here. Could easily cause a chain rout. He's got a lot of guns firing at him. Cronji's in a good position to attack here. Cronji and Painkiller. I'm not sure which units are whose. I don't think all the light infantry is Cronji's, because that would be too many. Now is when he needs to send that cavalry attack in. Right now, he needs the cavalry over here. Send that cavalry in here. He would rout these units so fast. Push the attack. Continue the attack straight through behind to Cronji's Voltigeurs. This is how he would have beaten him. He's been forced back out of the town. Another pointless act. He didn't need to go into that town. It's not necessary. He needs to send men over here now, because Cronji's weakening these units over here. So we need support. Send the light infantry over here. Send the line infantry over here. It's old guard here now. That's going to start showing against these units. Coming down to, like, he needs his general here. They're not going to take hits. If he sticks it up here, he's got it in the rough area. Right, he's got Culture and Guards finally coming over, but he still needs these two light infantry. They still need to be over here. It's not too much. It's just sort of skirmishing going on over this area of the field. Rusty's free to push up. I mean, he is kind of right in pulling back up the hill. He could have caused a lot more damage when Rusty was back here if he'd have positioned his lights in here, stuck a throwaway unit up in here that was backed up from any kind of cavalry attack. Let these units shoot at this throwaway unit, and he could cause loads of damage while Rusty was out in the open. But in the position he's in now, he's done the right thing by pushing back and just going playing full defensive. He can't push out and attack against Rusty over here. He should have saved the cover. They should have saved all of their cavalry. Should have been no cavalry attacks at the start of the game. Should have saved it until the late game. Weaken the line units, charge them in, knock them out while they can't form square. Use your light infantry. Let the light infantry do the work first if you're going to be defensive. Not the cavalry. Cavalry are to finish the game. Alright, so we've got more cavalry. It's finally sending cavalry in, but it's a bit too late. It's only got one unit firing now, so it's only going to be firing at one unit here. He's still got two units free firing over here. Good that he's got this old guard in square. They're going to take a lot of losses. Really needs to get that foot unit firing as soon as possible. Good attack, follow through, hit his light infantry. Needs those Royal Scots Greys over here fast. He needs both those light infantry over here fast. Got units routing here, you know, those generals over here. These men would be standing a lot longer as well. I mean, in situations like this, you need your men to stand there, as many men as possible, do it for as long as possible, to be standing there firing, creating casualties. He is weakening Cronj, don't get me wrong, because like Painkillers had to move these two units up to reinforce. I mean, they are going to have their work cut out of it to attack this hill.
Our men are running, sir.
They've done the right thing here, because Cronji is pretty strong in this position. He's got men that he can reinforce this area with. So reinforcing this area with the GB units was a good idea. Needs to send this light infantry over here. Now, at this stage of the battle, this light infantry needs to be here, over on this flank, while while Painkiller and... because obviously when they can't attack, they have to play defensive. They haven't got the cavalry to attack like Painkiller does over here, like we do. So if you had that light infantry, they're going to have to advance. So if he's got that light infantry positioned up here, they're going to take quite a few losses, because the Brit lights can punch out quite a lot of damage. They can cut line to pieces, you know, and they're going to take a lot of losses. It's all about the later game. You've got to think about the later game. I mean, he's doing quite a good job over here, considering the combined efforts between Cronj and... but he is making mistakes. I mean, now, he needs that Scott Grey. He needs this cavalry. Go in now. Why are they moving up? They can't position. They're not in a position to fire. There's no real backup here. Send this that cavalry should be going in here. He's got 3 shots on all of these units. They'd be routing. Some of these that can't. Oh God, can't form square. Militia can't form square anyway. While his general.
Our men are running. Our men are running,
General is
sir.
here. These guys aren't going to be about to rout because of the old guard fear factor. Line infantry, foot units should be coming into here. He could break this area. That's just why Cronji knows this, and he's moving these units over to reinforce it. These units are still sitting here. He hasn't. How could you not have noticed that he's moved his whole flank away? The two light infantry units are over here. Should have been over here from like near the start. He should have repositioned. He needs to fold back. I mean, obviously this flank's now been reinforced. He's in a good fight. Cronji's and Painkiller are now both in a good firing position. They should pull back this flank and push in here. They're weakest here. This is their weak point. Cronji's moved his men right over to this side. So push in here, you break these units, and you'll be able to get some free shots over here. I mean, obviously the cavalry should have been really used over here earlier. He's got a Highland foot here, which he should be using to go in against this Polish. It's too slow. I mean, now he should be sending this Royal Scots Grey into this Polish.
Our men are running. Our men are running,
Royal Scots Grey
sir.
into this Polish unit as the position stands, and he'd get rid of that Polish unit pretty quick with the use of these Connaught Rangers as well. I didn't see they were hidden. General should be over here. My God, such mistakes. The Brit units are getting cut to pieces. They should be in skirmish order, taking far too many shots. He's got line infantry firing at him. Yeah, he hasn't really got much choice. I mean,
One of our units has used all its ammunition,
get up
sir.
onto this lip of the hill here, into the trees, defend. To be honest, actually, with the cavalry in the town, he's free to move around and come around behind him. What they should be just abandon the hill. Actually reassessing this situation. Let's have a look. Hang on. Yeah, look, he's got the car. While this cavalry was over here, they should get all of their men and just leg it. Run back here to this position. Run back here. Get in the bushes, as many as you can. If the situation over here, if they'd have pushed out the cavalry attacks and the line infantry attacks combined, as soon as he pushed his cav to attack, he should automatically have sent at exactly the same time send his men up to attack as well, and he probably would have broken these units before they got reinforced. These are all reinforced units. The other
men are running, our men are running,
units are dead.
sir.
They're already gone. You know, look, these are all like full units. These are the units that have been used to reinforce. So he would have killed them, and without so many losses to his own men, to his own army, you know. Oh dear! Now look, they're stuck. Now they're pinned on the hill. I mean, they haven't really. No, they're done for. This hill's just it's just waiting to break now. It's not gonna. They can't. They'll lose this fight. When that cavalry was back in the town, they should have just run right the way back here and positioned. Maybe around here where they've got some bushes, stuck lights in there. Maybe even slowly try to work their way around and team up with their other teammate over here, and then push out and attack as one. I mean, those simple little things with the cavalry attacks, they could have broken Cronji and Painkiller over here. He's done a good job of defending, but then Cronji and Painkiller are putting a good attack as well. I mean, you do need to outnumber your opponent when you're in the area where if you're attacking a hill or a defensive position. I can't really say. I mean, I can't really say if you don't outnumber them that you'll always lose, but it kind of depends on your opponent, on the player. He's put up a relatively good defence, but he could have taken this. He could have defended this hill and killed these all of Cronji and Painkiller's units over here a lot sooner. If he'd have combined his cavalry attacks a lot better. I mean, it's just getting harassment now, shooting up his foot guard square there with these chasseurs cheval, just harassing his lines. It's good work. It's good cavalry work here.
The men are fatigued, sir. The men are fatigued, sir, and must rest a
Basically
while.
just like guerrilla tactics, really. Hit and run. I mean, he's got a strong defensive position on this side, but if you see the overwhelming numbers coming up through here, I mean, these are for like near full units, combined with France. He's keeping his general nearby, but I mean, that's good. That's good. I'm not sure if he just lost his general, if that was, yeah. Oh, Cronji lost his general, I do apologise. Right, well, I think Stinger's going to win over this side now. I mean, he's still in a position to cause him a bit of damage, but he has the cavalry, he can make him form square. He really should be getting that cavalry into work already. He should have done it ages ago.
Our men are running, sir.
This side is just basically it's just a hill. The hill's just waiting to break now. They're outnumbered, way outnumbered, enough to be able to defend the hill properly. I mean, all he needs to do is shoot that foot guard unit until it can't form square, and then charge it, and it's gone. It's routed, you know. Rusty can push up here, put pressure up on all sides now, especially through this area. Pretty weak here. There's not very many guns they got firing. Should be concentrating on breaking through here. There's no doubt that Stinger will win this flank, this hill, but he's just done it at too much of a cost. He probably could have kept half his army intact, maybe even more than half his army, if he'd have used the cavalry, held off the cavalry attacks a bit longer, and just shot up his men with his Cronji and Painkiller's men with his lights, weaken the line. Send in the cavalry attacks.
One of our units has used
He played
all its
far too
ammunition,
defensive,
sir.
Stinger. Far too defensively. Push up the cavalry attacks with your line infantry. Once your light infantry's weakened your opponent, then whack in a cavalry attack. Push up your line, shoot at the same time. You're going to rout units and you're going to kill men very fast. But he didn't do that, so it's cost him. Although he may have won this hill, but I mean, look. He would have, if he'd have done the organised himself, and have them light infantry over here, more guns firing back on. I mean, he had the cover from the trees and stuff. Cronji that was out in the open. He was pushing up the attack. If he'd had those light infantry over here, they would have cut up so many more men. You know, he needed more guns firing in on this position. Probably could have won with probably over half his army intact still, enough to stand a chance at taking on this. I mean, these guys are all firing into trees. They're using up a lot of ammunition. He would have used a lot less ammunition defending that area. May have stood a chance at of taking on Cronji and that, even if these two did get beat on this hill.
Our men are running, sir. Our men are running, sir.
Over to this position, I believe, before the cavalry came out of the town. I know I am repeating myself, but I'm just sort of going through the battle as I've seen, because there's no way they can win now. The hills is waiting to break. I should have pulled back to this position, Britain and France, maybe tried to work their way around and come out and attack as one, or hold up in this position and try and cause as many casualties as possible, drawing out the amount of attacking that these guys had to do, because Prussia couldn't have attacked Rusty. They didn't have really much choice but to play defensively, because with the French cavalry backing up again as well with Rusty, they couldn't attack. It just wasn't. They would have died by less half this time. But I mean, they put out a good attack on between Rusty and Painkiller on this flank. They've done very well. I think the opposite team, opposing team, on this flank, he was too fixated on being defensive, and that's what's cost him. That's probably what cost him the battle. I mean, if you kind of understand what I'm saying here, the battle would have been won because of this flank in this area of the field. This is what would have been deciding the whole battle, in my opinion. If you'd have had the units over here, like I said, and timed the cavalry attacks and the infantry attacks,
One of our units has used all its ammunition, sir.
And he would have broken all the units that he would have pushed up into here a lot sooner. And it would have forced men to be drawn away from this flank, because they'd have to move over to reinforce this as well. But as it stood, they've taken the hill now. I imagine the good games will be going out at this stage.
A glorious victory, sir. A glorious victory, sir, is soon to be yours.
I'll come back in a minute because I sort of know the game's over, but we'll play it out to the end. There's not really much. He has nowhere near enough men to be able to deal with the situation that's gone on over here. I don't think they could have won over on this flank. They just needed to do as much damage as possible and draw them out as long as possible. I mean, even if they were pulling back over to this position, they'd be able to reposition over here, getting more kills, taking more, tiring these men out as well. Maybe even a possibility of linking up round into this area. It might not have been possible because Painkiller's cavalry probably could have harassed them, stopping them from being able to do that, maybe even cut them off. But the area where they could have won this battle would have been here.
The men are fatigued, sir, and must rest a while.
That's how I see the battle. That's how they could have won the battle. It would have been decided here for them to win. But I think Painkiller and Rusty knew that they were going to win. They could afford to push up and attack. They could afford. Rusty had the men. He had an all a no cavalry build, which gives him. I think he's probably got over 2,000 men in his army. Combined with the cavalry attack, French cavalry, they could afford to attack and continue to attack up the hill. But he put up a good defence on this hill. But Crongy and Painkiller did put up a good attack. So well played to the pair of them, really. But I'll come back in a minute just to finish off the battle. Right, so they managed to catch this unit before it could form square with the cavalry, so it sent his old guard into melee, so they're going to destroy that foot unit pretty quickly. These guys are about to rout. There's not really much they can do. I mean, obviously the game's over now. So well played to both teams. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please rate, comment and subscribe. I'll let it go through to the end credits. If you please, leave your comments, guys. Anyone who's watching the video, if you agree with what I was saying, if you disagree with what I was saying, leave your own thoughts on how you thought the battle went. Both teams played well. At the end of the day, I'm not going to knock.
One of our units has used all its ammunition, sir.
I'm not going to knock TNC Sif for playing ultra defensive over here. He couldn't attack Rusty. He had no choice but to defend in order to try an attempt to win the battle. But I think they should have just pulled back right out the way and give up the hill. But just give up the hill slowly, causing as many casualties as you can. Just fire and retreat as such, but not quite like kiting. Not fire and retreat, and that he should have just done a full reposition over
One
here.
of our units has used all its ammunition, sir.
But I will knock Stinger a little bit, because if they'd have organised their cavalry attacks and his cavalry attacks and repositioned those lights over to the left, he probably could have won that and play defensive but play aggressive when necessary. It's all about the timing, you know. But he probably could have won this flank and decided about the and had a chance of deciding the game over in this area of the field. But anyway, if you yeah, as I said, leave comments if you agree with me. If you don't, then leave them comments as well. I mean, it all makes for a good discussion. And I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. Please rate, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you again next time, guys. Thanks for watching.